Hello everyone, I'm Roseann Sarica Benedict, and I'm here today because I'm going to make one of my favorite sides for Thanksgiving dinner. So this side is supposedly a vegetable dish, although I doubt the nutritional content of this dish because it's really high calories, lots of sugar, but I have to tell you, everybody who eats it, or tries it at least, absolutely loves it. And it's great the day of Thanksgiving, and it's great the day after Thanksgiving. So what it's called is sweet potato surprise, because you are surprised. No. And basically, we're going to do a step first, and then I'm going to go over and make the actual casserole. So what we're doing here is, sweet potato casseroles usually have either marshmallows or, marshmallows in them or marshmallows on top, whatever. But this is going to be fluff. Oh my God, marshmallow fluff in the actual recipe. And it's so yummy. So anyway, let's get started. So we're gonna do melt two different butter quantities. So this one is going to be, so I'm making a recipe in a half because I don't have enough fluff for 2 recipes. And I have a friend who is home for Thanksgiving. She's all alone. I'm gonna send some over to her. So I'll give her the half recipe. So anyway, it's 1.5 recipes we're gonna do. So what I put in here is 2/3 cup of butter, and then a half of 2/3, which I have no idea what that is, I just cut. So it's 2/3 cup of butter. I didn't pass my science tests or math tests in quantities, but anyway. So I put butter in here to melt over low heat. Then this, so that's for the topping. This is actually for the casserole, and this calls for, remind me, 3/4 cup of butter. So 3/4 cup is 12 tablespoons. So I'm putting in 18 tablespoons of butter. Sounds so much better to say 18 tablespoons than to say a cup and a half. I don't know. Seems like a lot. But anyway, so we're going to put that in this pot. And I'm putting this in first for a reason. When you work with marshmallow fluff, it's really sticky, which is why I have my apron on. And yes, I wear my aprons. I wear half aprons, and I wear them on my chest, and because I'm always doing this. And so if you have the aprons that are, full-length aprons, the neck thing is always hanging, and I don't know, it just doesn't work. But these little half aprons I love, and actually my mother's mother made this apron, so I don't know, I feel a little nostalgic, I guess. All right, so we have this butter here, and this is going to be for the actual casserole. It's 18 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to melt it, and I'm going to coat the pan with the butter as it's melting. And the reason for that is because marshmallow fluff is really sticky, and in order for it not to stick quite so much, if it's, whoops, did you see that butter splash? If it's coated with some butter, then it won't stick quite as much. So this is almost melted. This is probably going to be one of my worst videos because there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is the butter melting for the topping. It's almost melted. I'm going to cut up this butter just to help it move along, melt a little bit faster. And let's see. So, okay, here we go. The hardest part of Thanksgiving, right, is coordinating the timing of your meal, right? If you're making different kinds of casseroles in the oven, you need to make sure everything gets heated up at the right time so that everything comes out piping hot. And thankfully I have enough ovens to do that, so that's good. I also use my grill. outside to either keep things warm or to cook my turkeys when we're doing, 2 or 3 turkeys. I'll cook a turkey outside and it comes out really yummy. So, okay, so this butter in this pan is for the topping, and that's all melted. So I'm going to shut that flame off. And then this butter is for the actual casserole, and that's almost melted. So I'm going to just give it another, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit and give it another little stir. And I'm going to start putting in the fluff. So it's supposed to be 2 7-ounce containers for one recipe. So this is, of course, 16 ounces. It's not 14 ounces what I need, but since I'm doing the 1.5 recipes, that's perfectly fine. So getting this out is quite the chore, but with the buttered spatula, it comes out quite easily. So obviously marshmallow fluff takes the place of marshmallows. It's already melted, mostly. Okay, I'm going to turn down my temperature because I don't want anything to burn. And it's almost out. Excuse that noise, I have this ice maker behind me, and it makes a lot of noise when the ice comes out. Okay, so we have an empty container of marshmallow fluff, and in that container, and then we have another one here for the extra half a recipe that I'm doing. And this was a 7.5 ounce container, but I had the 2 ounces from the other fluff. So the bottom line is it's all going to be perfect, even if it's not exact. So there we go. So now I'm going to take this ooey gooey marshmallow fluff. I'm not putting those in recycling because they're too sticky to clean. Those go in the regular garbage. And I'm just going to melt this up. It spins. So I'll probably fast forward this just so you're not sitting here watching me melt my fluff, but it's gonna be ooey gooey and sticky. So, okay, so now I'm back. I've melted the butter for the topping, right? That's here. And I melted the marshmallow fluff, which this is the consistency. It's so smooth and creamy and sticky. But anyway, so now what the recipe calls for is 4 sweet potatoes that you baked or boiled and softened, right? I don't have time for that, so I use just regular sweet potatoes in a can, and I'm going to call this can 4 sweet potatoes because I can. And then for that half recipe, I'm going to take half a can. What? Where's my spoon? I'm going to take half a can and put that in there as well. That looks about half a can. You know what? I'm just going to pour the whole can in because what am I going to do with the half a can of sweet potatoes? So, okay, we'll have to just deal with it. Okay, so I have 2 cans of sweet potatoes in this bowl, and then I am going to take 2 large eggs, but I'm pretending I'm making 1.5 recipes. I'm not considering the other potatoes, so I'm putting 3 eggs in there. This recipe comes out good no matter what you do to it. It's unbelievable. It's so delicious, so sugary, and thank God we only have it once a year. And then 3/4 cup of sugar in there. Okay. And I added a little bit more because it's a recipe and a half. So 3/4 cup of sugar, and then milk, and it's supposed to be a cup of milk, but I'm putting in a cup and a half. So we have that yumminess, and then I'm going to add the marshmallow cream in here, and that's just going to come right out into this bowl. I don't know if you saw, if I mentioned this about my bowl. I love bowls, mixing bowls, and this is one of my favorites. I got it at Hoagland's on the Avenue after Christmas sale one year, and it's one of my favorites. You can see the little Christmas design on it. So I only use it around Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I actually have 2 different ones. I really love them. So I'm going to mix this up. It's going to be loud, but really quickly, and I'll probably not make you watch all this while I'm on the video. Okay, so this pretty much looks like soup. It's nice and smooth and soft and creamy. And I am going to stop it, and then I'm going to pour it in the prepared containers. This is my 13 by 9 pan. I'm just going to spray with pan. And this is a casserole dish that I'm going to serve to my friend. And just put that there too. I'm going to put this in this casserole dish. That. It firms up really nicely. It's not this soupy. I guess between the marshmallows and the eggs that are in here. Okay, so I have the casserole for my friend, the casserole for my family dinner. And then what you do is, I'll show you. Okay, so what we have here now is we're going to make the topping for the sweet potato casserole. And if you remember earlier on, I melted some butter in a pan. I added about 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar to that butter and melted that. And now I'm pouring it into my bowl. And we're gonna add to that, we're gonna add some more pecans. And probably, I don't know, I'd say whatever's in this bag, a cup or so. Cut this. Okay. Put that in there. And then we're going to add post cereal, honey bunches of oats. You can use cornflakes if you want, but you know, this one has a little bit more sugar and it works better for the recipe. And let's see, how much did they say? They say a cup, and I was gonna make, you know, the 1.5. So I'm gonna put in at least 2 cups because you can never have enough topping. So I filled it over too. But I did add more butter when you weren't looking so that I could have enough butter for the topping. And you just mix this up. It's this crunchiness on top of these sweet potatoes is amazing. And like I said, it's perfect the day after. It's perfect the day. It's perfect the day after. And it's really good. If you can't follow along in any of my recipes and you need the actual recipe, and I have an actual recipe, because sometimes I don't, then just never hesitate to text me or email me, call me, whatever, message me. I'm happy to show it to you. So this is the topping. It's just butter, brown sugar, the honey bunches of oat cereal, and pecans. And my hands are clean. I'm going to use my hands to put this over the top of the sweet potatoes, just like that. And then you bake it in the oven for at 350 for about an hour. It's a long time because all that potato and egg has to get firmed up. So if you're going to do this ahead of time, you should do it, bake it, and then just reheat it the day of. If you're not going to do it the day ahead of time, then that's fine too, as long as you have oven space. But I have a couple of different potato recipes that I do ahead of time, and they come out beautifully. So another one of my favorites is a mashed potato recipe, which a lot of my friends have that recipe. If you need a mashed potato recipe, let me know. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Pat Cordes, who gave me that recipe. It's amazing. and I won't tell you what's in it because it's not dietetic in any way, shape, or form either. And anyway, so these are my 2 casseroles. They have enough topping on them for everybody to be happy, everybody to have a scoop of. And I'm gonna bake these babies today for Thanksgiving tomorrow. But then I'm just gonna heat them in the oven for a little bit tomorrow, and they'll be great. So when you're not looking, I'm going to lick my fingers because there's some pecans and honey bunches of oat cereals on them, and I can't waste that. So anyway, I will show you the finished product in a minute. Going to show you the finished product of my sweet potato surprise casserole. This is delectable, non-dietetic, I already told you that. My sweet potato casserole, and what I'm going to do tomorrow is just pop this in the oven for a half hour to get it nice and warm and bubbly again. But it's so wonderful. You're going to love it. So if you want the recipe for this, let me know. I'm happy to help you with it. And if you just want to come over and take some, feel free to do that too, because I'm not having a lot of people for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to have lots of leftovers.